Welcome to the Fast Life Podcast. Once again, we're back in the shop. It's hot as fuck. Since I moved, this has kind of been the place that we've had to start doing the podcast. Don't have my garage anymore, which was a quite comforting place to do it. This heat's bad in Texas, man. It just sucks. But we're gonna sweat this out and get this podcast done today. It's Sunday. You probably won't be hearing this till Tuesday, but everybody's out riding, having a good time. I'm trying to get my Dyna done, trying to get it back together so I can, have a bike to ride so I can maybe stop being a grumpy little bitch. Between needing to get this Dyna done and needing to take the van to get all the shit refixed on it, I'm just trying to have a vehicle to get around on while the van's down, you know what I mean? So, I'm up here on the weekend trying to knock it out. I don't have much left. I'm hoping that by the end of tonight, depending on how long this podcast takes, I can get it done. And, maybe I'll be riding a bike to the bike night Tuesday or tonight if you're hearing this, instead of Ubering, which is kind of like my thing now, I guess. But, this, it's just, setbacks, and then you got to jump over and figure out how to get through it, and I'm not one to talk motivational about that shit, so I'm not even going to try to. But anyway, man, this podcast, as always, is going to be brought to you by Texas Performance MC. My dude Mark is, hands down solid dude. He's handling Austin's service needs and, custom products and fucking, all the cool guy shit that you can ever want for your bike. He's got it down there, and he's putting them on and getting people dialed. So, check Mark out. Paint. I'm fucking up. I'm sorry, Mark. TexasPerformanceMC.com, Texas Performance MC on Instagram. Check him out. If you go by his shop, let him know you heard about it through the podcast, so we know this shit's working. And check him out, man. Help keep these small businesses rolling in your neck of the woods. That way we can all make it and prosper and ride bikes and have good times and shit. So check Mark out. Cedar Park, Texas. Full service dyno tuning and performance shop. He's got everything you need. He's my go-to guy when I need shit fixed on my bike or I need shit, upgraded on my bike. So check him out. I stand behind him 100%. Also, I prematurely started talking about this, but Paint Huffer Metal Flake. I want to thank Brian out there and all the shit he's done for this podcast pretty much since day one. Hopefully you're following Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG, which is Paint Huffer Metal Flake. And if you need to get some flake, pearls, paint materials, tapes, things like that, you can always check out painthuffer.com, and he'll get you dialed in there. As always, he's out, I believe, in Tempe, Arizona. So if you're in the Arizona area or Phoenix area, go check out the shop, man. Check out his digs and see what he's got, see what he has in stock. Let him know you heard about him through this podcast, and help me help you or something. I don't know. Right? Anyway, painthuffer.com. Check him out. Solid dude. Solid products. We use it every day in this shop. If you need some inspiration, go on Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG and check out all the rad-ass work from all the badass painters across this great land. Also, we have Horsepower Inc. They're still, helping us out, man. Crazy shit, but, love those dudes. They're solid, man. I'm glad I got to meet them, man. Under the circumstances, it sucks, but they've been great people ever since. Even since before the podcast, we did with them. Jimmy up there is doing badass shit. Their whole, it's a family business that they're all making shit happen, and I like those guys, man. I really do. So check out horsepowerinc.net. If you're on Instagram, it's just Horsepower Inc. And on Facebook, it's Horsepower Inc. Indy. If you don't know anything about these guys, we did a podcast with them. You get to hear how Jimmy started, how he got where he's at, how he's built Horsepower Inc. With the help of, I believe, his mom and maybe another family. It's been a minute. But check these guys out, man. Their shop is rad as fuck, too, man. They're building some sick-ass bikes. Motors, exhaust systems, air cleaners. They're known for the throttle bodies. Check them out, man. Please do. Their shit rocks. And I believe they're moving into a newer, bigger facility which I'm totally jealous of because I was digging this facility they did have already. So congratulations to you guys. Keep doing badass shit, and badass things will keep happening, right? That's what I'm telling myself. That's my motivational speaking for the day. Also, don't forget about hard drive V-twin products. You know what I mean? I think I've been trying to explain this to you guys who they are. I think most of you guys in the industry already know who hard drive is, but if you don't, and if you're in the business of selling products, you need to be doing some hard drive V-twin products. Basically, they're very similar to what Drag and Tucker and other companies like that are, but in my opinion, they carry more brands that are closer to the type of bikes that most of us, or I believe you guys that listen to this podcast, are interested in, the more performance-based shit. Or they have a lot of companies that we're more close with, like, I believe Lindahl. Like, I think they're the only place you can technically buy Lindahl wheels from other than going and being a dealer directly for Lindahl. Also, like Sawicki, and I need to go back through the book and study it and see what else is in there, but there's a ton of shit. I know that Hard Drive themselves have a lot of products that they put out, and it's pretty rad, and the prices are right, you know what I mean? So if you check out Hard Drive, it's hdtwin.com. You can get a link on there to find out to become a dealer, set up all that shit. So check them out. They're growing big. I think they're a parent company or a sister company. I don't know the way they word that shit, but basically WPS is I believe that what owns Hard Drive, and WPS has always been like a major company in doing what Drag and everybody else does for years and years. So they're not new to the whole game. They're just putting their mark on the Harley V-twin market. So check them out. Also, Hard Drive Parts on Instagram. You can check those dudes out as well and see all kinds of cool shit. They post a lot of different pics of like the brands that you can get through their through their catalogs and stuff like that. So check them out. Hope you do. Hope you like it. I'm probably going to be a dealer for them soon as I get off my ass and put a sign in front of my door. But check those guys out. Also, if you know or you don't follow Zombie Mike is one of the reps. He's a great friend of mine. We're also going to have him on this podcast very soon. So, he'll be able to talk to you more about the brand of Hard Drive. And, I was really excited when he told me he got the job. He was super excited, wanted the job. And I love the fact that he got it because he's someone that really cares about the motorcycle industry and has been in it for a big part of his life. So he has a valid stake and opinion about it, which I really value. And I hope that we get him back on. If you haven't heard the first podcast we did with him, it's one of my favorites. So scroll back if you haven't heard it, check it out. Today we have girlon2wheels on Instagram. I don't know if you guys follow her. Giselle is her name, I believe. I met her at the Ace Cafe Performance, I think it's Dyna FXR Performance Show. I don't know the exact terms of what they call the show during Daytona, which I know you've heard me tell so many times how much I enjoyed that specific show event that I was a part of, or just that I went. Like, that was my highlight happiness for Daytona. So she's actually, I believe, helped create that event. She helped produce it, things like that. Also, she does a lot of riding. She rides the FXR, which is fucking badass as fuck. So anyways, we're having her on, and, let's get to know her now. Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Cool.
Sick.
Already going. The hardest part of these things are always starting them.
Yeah.
Getting the first words out. But I guess tell everybody who you are.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm nobody, man. I don't even, what did you comment on? You commented on my Google Maps, I think, for the first part of this trip. Like, hey, you're coming through Texas this podcast. I'm like, I don't know why you'd want to, but.
Well, for me, it was like, I was even talking to my wife about this last night. It's like, I don't know a lot of women that ride and are in, our sector of motorcycles the way we are.
Yeah.
And, and then at the same time, I don't know if I can carry a conversation with just any chick that rides a bike.
Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But
So I guess who I am. My name is Giselle. Everybody forgets that because it's weird. So it's at girlon2wheels, and that's what everyone says. Oh, you're girl on two wheels. It's either that or you're the FXR chick, the FXR blue FXR chick is what they say. Or that somebody in Vegas called me the FXR queen, which I will never even proclaim to be. But it's pretty sweet that somebody associated me that way. But
how long you been on the FXR?
I've only had that bike for 2.5 years.
Longer than I've had my FXR.
Yeah, and it was a total turd fest. You know, I got it for $2,200 out the door of a dealer.
Oh, that's not, that's
it
bad.
it
That's
didn't
not bad.
run. I mean, there's a whole convoluted story as to why it was back there, but basically one of the employees had hidden it because he wanted to take it home, but he didn't have the cash. So when my friend kind of sent me a low message like, hey, you wouldn't believe what I found, come buy it. I did. I bought it that day, and then she got a bunch of flack for it later because the service manager was like, who the hell sold that FXR? And she was like, me?
So did you pick it up out of Florida?
Yeah, in Orlando. East Orlando Harley had that thing.
So you always been from Florida, or?
Yeah, I was born in Gainesville and have lived in Orlando for 7 years, which is why, you know, we did the FXR Dyna Day in Orlando because that's, you know, where I live. And Performance Harley Jordan only lives like an hour from there. So it was nice to have somebody close by and like bring some good bike culture to my hometown, which happens to be, you know, close enough to Daytona to make it work.
Yeah. Well, you know, on this podcast all the time, I always say that was the only thing that I enjoyed about Daytona was that deal. You know what I mean? Because the culture or the scene that we have with this type of bikes, it's just like it was like I referenced this to Born Free a couple podcasts ago or the last one, but it's kind of like just a homecoming for Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, for all of us that follow each other.
Yeah.
Or a reunion or whatever.
Exactly.
So it's like you get there and, you know, all the people that are doing shit across the country made the trip, like Race Glide and fucking you know, Cut Raid and all these badass people from everywhere. So it's like you're nerding out on the bikes and you're nerding out on the people that you follow. So it's like just it's fun to be at those things. You know what I mean? Because then once we all went to Daytona, some people went there. I mean, we never saw each other ever again. Everybody was in their own little world.
Ripping, riding, drinking. Yeah. I mean, so when we decided to try to take on this event, it was segmented. Like, this was something I'd always wanted to do since I kind of set the bike up the way I wanted. And there really aren't that many West Coast style FXRs, not in Florida. They're coming up. There's more Dynas for sure. I can probably name maybe 2 FXRs that are local like mine. But I had always admired the FXR Dyna shows from California, but never really had the means to get out there. You know, you see them at Born Free, right? There's always that section of FXRs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I first really saw what I wanted my bike to look like. And then I got connected with Performance Harley Jordan. I'm just going to call him Jordan from now on. But then there's Hot Bike Jordan, so it's really freaking confusing. And he was the one that actually contacted Jeff Holt when he was still with Hot Bike. And Jeff was like, yeah, sure. You know, we just basically pitched it as, we don't want to make any money. We want to create an event that we would want to go to. You know, Bike Week is basically in our backyard. And the last 2 years, I didn't even want to go there. I would only go to meet up people that I wouldn't see otherwise. So, you know, what a sad thing to take this huge piece of bike culture, like, you know, one of the biggest rallies, and kind of let it die like that, you know.
It definitely has done that. I mean, my whole purpose for doing Daytona was to have an opinion about it instead of just saying, oh, that's not my thing. You know what I mean? I wanted to go and experience it, and I think I probably could have had done some different things there and maybe had a better experience, but I mean, the cool weather was one thing that I wasn't expecting. It was just way too cold.
2 years in a row, man. That was bizarre.
So the cool weather, just it felt like the locals didn't want you there, you know. And as someone who loves Sturgis and goes or tries to go every year, like when I'm in Sturgis, I feel welcome. I feel like I'm in a motorcycle state, you know, like where everything is revolving around it. And I just think that Daytona is growing too big as a city for this type of shit to go there. So it's almost like you need to find another hole in the wall town down the coast somewhere, probably south further, that way we can get some better weather. But
I know it's ironic because that pretty much, I mean, NASCAR keeps Daytona afloat, but really Bike Week and Biketoberfest are the big economy drivers for that town. I mean, Daytona is a fucking shithole.
Yeah.
You know, if you go, I'll go out there to I'll go to JMP to get parts, and it's like a damn ghost town. You're like dodging tumbleweeds as you're pulling in. So you would think they'd be happier to have the bikers there, but they're not.
I guess I was hearing rumors or stories about how like JMP and that dealership that it's connected to kind of pulled everything out of Daytona out that way
to Ormond.
Yeah, so that's what it's called. And then you know, you have that whole strip down the road headed back to Daytona that has all the bars on. That area was cool.
Yeah.
But when you're going there and you're having beers, and as soon as you pull out, there's like a line of cops waiting to tag people.
Yes.
That's to me, that's like, come on, dude, you know everybody here's drinking. Let us just wreck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should definitely like have more Mad Max type laws. Like, if you're gonna be a fucking idiot, just pay for it. But I mean, and the problem with Daytona too is these events and the bikes that come to these events and the people. Sometimes it's the same stuff year after year. And how many times, you know, I love the chopper shows. I think Boogie East was a nice addition this year and the last 2 years. But we were just looking for something new. And so when, you know, Jeff gave us a green light to do the hot bike event, we took it and ran with it and just made it everything we wanted it to be. I didn't really charge very much for vendor spots. I mean, I kind of charged what I just wanted to not owe money to anybody. Which we were very successful in that front. We didn't really make any money, but we didn't lose any money. And Ace Cafe was such a cool spot to do it. I'm grateful to them for
Have you thought
giving us
about
the venue.
I mean, I know it's still new, and like I said, I know that everybody went and had a good time.
Yeah.
Have you considered the idea of maybe structuring a full weekend type event around that to where maybe you know what I mean, just something?
Oh yeah. So
because I would rather go down there for the full, like get there Friday, leave Sunday or Monday, but then you know, just be at that event with these people.
Yeah, I hope Jordan didn't kill me. I don't want to give too much away, but we're in talks to move the event actually to Daytona is the plan, to a venue that has been offered to us in Daytona that has a larger parking lot, because we all know that stunt show was amazing, mostly because it was in a very small arena.
Yeah.
So we would like to expand the stunt portion of this, maybe bring in more riders, or at least give them more room to play around. And then with this venue, we proposed a 2 to 3 day event. So please don't, this isn't set in stone, don't quote me on it, but we want to put in some racing, maybe some flat track. And then we were going to expand the bike shows. We might even split the performance bike show from the FXR Dyna show, do them on 2 different days.
Yeah.
And then really the whole point of it was to give the vendors who are traveling, like, you know, from Texas, probably where I would say this is where our line of concern is, Texas to California. Those people are really trekking, to give them some more value. You know, we only charge $50 because we know, you know, for Plex Audio, they spent a shit ton of money just to get there.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we were hoping to help them out. So if we can charge a reasonable rate for someone to get real estate in Daytona during Bike Week for 2 to 3 days, then we can draw people from the West Coast, which is the goal. We want to diversify the event, make it more, rejuvenate it, make it more friendly to different types of riders. Yes, you're still going to have your big wheel bagger dad glides rolling around, but they have everywhere else to go, you know?
Yeah, there's plenty of events for those.
Yeah, we need more for people of our aesthetic, I guess.
I'd be 100% willing to go again. It's like I was thinking to myself, it's like, you know, I want to go back to the event again next year. Yeah. But like I said, I don't want to ride all the way down there for one day. No, so, I don't blame you. You know, my thing was maybe my thought process was this year I wanted to go all the way to Key West. I've never been. Just check that off. But then my friend decided he wanted to go, and I let him ride my other bike. And so I was like, well, shit, now I gotta host this Daytona event to him because I want him to enjoy it. Right. And so I didn't get to do the riding I wanted to do, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if you did something like that, then I would definitely be. It's
a plan, man. Yeah. It's a plan, and you know, obviously it wouldn't be $50, but we still want to keep it so cheap because Daytona vending space is outrageous. Somebody did tell me what it cost to be set up at Bruce Rossmeyer's, and it's in the thousands of dollars. What? I mean, I can't imagine. Yeah,
you know, I'm real good friends with I don't know if you Sinister Wheels. They kind of make a lot of the big wheel shit, but I've known them forever. Used to design some wheels for them and shit like that. And when I was in Cali, we had lunch. We were just talking. We should have did a podcast, but he was telling me like Daytona was like $17,000. Yep. For the vendor space. Yep. So how many fucking wheels do you got to sell
Exactly.
to make your money? And then, you know, the argument on the other end, which I'm not pro this or against it. I'm just kind of like, there's another side of that. Without the people there, you have no show.
Right.
So if like these shops that people want to see don't come, they're just as important as those stunt riders.
Right.
And things
that
like
was
that.
my whole thing, you know, because towards the end, I mean, right, you know, when we weren't sure if we were going to have enough vendors towards the end, I was just telling people, I was like, just come and set up.
Yeah.
Just come and set up, you know. We wanted to, you know, like I said, we didn't want to rack up a bill, but we wanted to create a show and bring in people and brands and things that people would want to see. You're right. Without vendors, there is no show, you know, and I think that people kind of get a little too greedy to remember that. And like you said, it's all about family and it just
gets out of hand when the
Yeah.
bigger the event. So, you know, you keep your you see these big dollar signs because when your event gets popular, it becomes easy to monetize it in other ways. But you just got to, you know, if you want to,
Yeah.
you got to try to find to keep it like a subtle
Yeah.
and what it's supposed to be about.
And I know for Jordan and I, it's really not the goal. I don't think we ever intend to make a living off of that event. Like some of the other events grow so big that's all those people do is they plan, and then when it's over, they plan for the next one. I don't know. That takes the heart out of it for me. I think,
Yeah.
you know, I spent that whole day, and you were even there, and I didn't even get to meet you. I spent that whole day just running around emceeing, enjoying the stunts, looking at the bikes, not even thinking about how much money we were making. You know, it was free to attend, but we had raffles and all these other
yeah, and
things
then
going on.
didn't you charge for like the bikes to be entered and stuff like that? too?
$10, yeah, $10
so
a bike.
Any fucking grown adult knows that things cost money to do. So it's like, you know, we like Giddy Up is one of my favorite shows ever. I mean, it costs $10 a person to get into that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's fucking packed.
Right.
Because people want to be where the shit's happening.
They want to be
and-
there. They want to party.
I
I
mean,
mean, it would be cool to do some camping at our event if we could find out some kind of camping deal. I mean,
That's what I like. I tried to camp there, but the place that we ended up finding was a complete open field. There was no trees. There was nothing. It was just like, it was. I was like, okay, I guess this is it. You know.
yeah.
But yeah, the camping thing is always a blast.
Huge.
You know, it really is. But like I said, I've said this before. I try not to like base every event like off Giddy Up for me.
Right.
So I don't want every event to be Giddy Up. I want it to be its own thing. But
Yeah.
camping is fun no matter what. I mean,
Oh yeah, and I think if we get the opportunity to add the flat track racing into it, that's like a natural addition to it because racing and camping go hand in hand. That would be probably the time to include it. But our minimum goal is 2 days to give vendors, at least worth the trip. And then they have real estate in Daytona, which is huge, And the venue we're looking at is in very close proximity to the Speedway. And our event was the same day as Supercross, which we thought would hurt us. But in reality, people still had time to commute. But if we were right there, we could feed off of each other. And I think that the Speedway, because they are involved in the sense that they have stake in the real estate we're looking at, they were supportive because they think that it's not a far cry for somebody who's into Dynas to maybe want to go check out some Supercross.
well, a lot of people are into that shit.
So we're hoping that we can cross promote a little bit between the Supercross and the FXR Dyna Day if we.
I think it will. I mean, like I said, the event was great. Nobody was like going home going, that fucking thing sucked. You know what I mean? Everybody
I
was
know, man. I
having
was
a good
sweating
time.
it though. You have no idea. I would lose sleep. Like, man, are people actually going to come?
It's a scary feeling, man.
It is so scary. It's like your baby, and the day comes and people start rolling it. I think it's when Jake Cutler from Barnstorm rolled in that it first hit me that this was like a real thing.
Serious, yeah.
Because I always had admired what he did and I knew he was coming, but he rolls up and I'm like, man, this is a real thing. He came all the way from Massachusetts.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like that was the first time I got to see. I saw some of Pop's Garage shit up in Sturgis, but that was my first Dyna FXR thing at the Sturgis show, and I was kind of like, not. I didn't have the eye for all the bikes, but man, the bikes that Pop's Garage has out there, they were fucking amazing.
Beautiful. Clean,
super clean, nice bikes. You know what I mean? And the kid that was out there, what's his name? Fuck, I've already talked about him before, but built everything on his bike. I mean, that shit was cool to see.
Are you talking about Kaori Rice?
Yeah,
with that FXR that he rides everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
I am that kid's biggest fan. I'm gonna make shirts.
He's gonna be somebody if
Yeah.
he's not already. You know what I mean? So
Oh
if he
yeah, I
keeps
mean
doing what he's doing,
I think he told Jordan maybe every bike week show he put that bike in at one.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean that's what it's about. It's keeping a kid like that with that much talent and with an aesthetic like that. It's giving him a home and an audience to appreciate him, because if we didn't have that show, I think that might have been one of the first ones he put that bike in. Would he have had the confidence to take that bike out and build more, you know? Because all we did for him was build his confidence, you know?
Yeah.
He had so many people there and people with experience in the industry telling him, like, yo, you've got a gift. You really need to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the Dyna scene is really full of that young blood. And
you hear a lot of people, especially, I don't really get on forums and chat rooms and shit like that, but you just hear it through the grapevine, basically, that people are like, oh man, Dynas are kind of dying, this, that, and the other. Like, and it's always like the guy that was into it like 4 years ago, and now he's not really into it, so he's trying to spread his kind of thoughts on it. But I feel like it's still super strong in Cali. It's getting bigger here. It's getting bigger there. And I mean, you got all those East Coasting dudes down there doing some crazy shit.
oh my God.
And
Yeah.
it's just like it's not going anywhere.
No, I think if anything, eliminating them from the motor company's line of new bikes has only just strengthened the love of it for the people who are already into it. Now it's like we got to preserve it, save the Dyna. It's like an endangered species almost.
Yeah.
And we have these shows to remind people how awesome they are. They're not disappearing. It's not like you can't get parts for them. It's not like they don't exist. There's plenty of them out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think the love of them is going to go away. I think if anything, now people value them more because you can't get them anymore.
Yeah, and that's the hope. I mean, like I said, they're fun bikes. And what I like to try to tell people, just like you on your FXR, it's like these bikes can do wheelies if you set them up right. They can carve corners, or you can throw a sissy bar and ride across country.
Yep.
And that's, to me, like, you're buying a bike that's so versatile that you really can, like, change who you are from day to day. Like, one day you're oh man, I'm gonna go do wheelies and be the unknown dudes, and the next day you're like, you know what, I think I'm just gonna 21 days in the sun sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just go ride the country.
Curpius.
Exactly. So that's what's cool about the bike. That's what's cool about all Harley bikes, but the Dyna in general is that you have that ability. It's a big enough bike to be comfortable on, and FXR is obviously the same thing. So
Except that they become clapped very quickly and are held together by Loctite and duct tape and zip ties.
zip ties for sure.
I know, I love her, man. She has tested me. We're only like 2,000 miles in.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess what is the you're from Florida. Like, when did you get into bikes in general?
Wow, this is one of those stories that whenever I hear everybody else's version of their origin story on motorcycles, I always feel like the strange kid, like the one of these things not like the other kind of deal, because my story is just very different, but very much the same in some ways. So not one person in my entire legacy of family has ever sat on a motorcycle. Not one person. So of course, when I announced that I was going to do this thing, everybody thought I was crazy. And still, when I go on these trips, my family doesn't really want to hear from me because that worry, especially because I'm a girl, just consumes them. They just don't get it. The risk, they don't understand risk to reward ratio. But so I was 24 years old and I got divorced. And it was a quick turnaround time. I needed somewhere to live, and this guy took me in, and he was struggling with a drug addiction at the time, but what he did to help himself cope and recover was restore vintage Yamahas. So he was building cafe racers and bobbers out of our garage. And I think he kind of knew I was going through some shit and started finding ways to include me or reasons for me to like watch him do what he was doing to see if it would click with me, if it would help me go through, cope with the same things that, he was feeling. And so like, I remember there was one day, I think I was like wet sanding a gas tank, some shit that I thought I couldn't fuck up, but I'm pretty sure I did. And he looked at me, he's like, so just go get your fucking license. I'm like, what do you mean? He's take the class, get a license, I'll let you ride one of these. I mean, sure as shit, he wasn't gonna let me ride one of those, like, nice ass cafe racers, but it was catalyst enough. I went and took it. Probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done is taking the basic rider's course, never having sat on a motorcycle, and being the only girl in a class of 30. I think it's scary for anyone who's new to bikes, but I'm not one to be intimidated by much, but that's a very intimidating experience when you're surrounded by dudes who really have been riding their entire lives just illegally.
Yeah.
And they finally decided to just make it legit, you know?
That was me in my class.
Yeah. I mean, and they're out there. I mean, what's funny and what the instructor would tell me is, you know what, you're a better student because all these motherfuckers have the bad habits to break. You have no habits. So it's easier to create habits than break old ones. But so I did it. I passed, not without struggle, but I passed. And he went out and bought me the Suzuki Savage, which is just a piece of shit. But it definitely was a good starter bike. You know, it kept me below 50 miles an hour. I felt like that thing was just held together with Legos. And it was just going to fucking shatter into a million pieces if I went above 60. So had that. And then, you know, right after that, I bought a Yamaha. Thought that's what I wanted, was like a cafe racer. But it was kickstart. Realized my first like 1.5 beer kickstarting experience. I was like, fuck this, I need an electric start. And that's when I got into Harleys. I had a Sportster, like every girl.
I think Sportsters are cool. So
I crossed the country on one, man. I did a 7,000 mile road trip to Born Free and back, actually. Now I think about it. Yeah,
what year was it?
Last year.
Last year? That's dope.
Did Born Free and back on a Sportster with 3 of my friends, and that was rad. I think that's when the travel bug hit me. And this trip is the first time I'm doing it alone.
What was like got you like motivated to do the travel?
Well, my best friend, like my soul sister Kristen, she is on Instagram, she's Lady Lassen. That's what most people know her as, but she's a tech for Harley Davidson. She grew up around Harleys. Her dad's a master tech, so she basically lives and breathes bikes, and she does a cross-country trip with her dad every summer.
That's cool.
Been since she was 17. When she was 17, her dad threw her on a Sportster and said, get the fuck on, we're going to Sturgis. And he took her to Sturgis at 17. So imagine that shit, like a 17-year-old girl rolling through fucking Glencoe.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had always admired that and watched the video and the still images she would get and just the confidence that she would have when she would come back from something like that. You know, it's almost like you get to reset your mind. You get to remind yourself what you're capable of and test yourself and all these things. And I was just so envious. So when it came around that she was planning the one for last year, I was like, can I come? And it just evolved into where she decided she was going to lead the trip. Just her, you know, her dad gave her that freedom to kind of see what she could do as our road captain, and 4 of us just went and did it, and it was amazing. And we did Pikes Peak, $1 Million Highway, Grand Canyon. You know, we made it to Born Free, rolled through LA for a few days, ripped through the South, which was miserable. I-10 is the worst fucking piece of road ever.
Yeah.
We did a lot of it at night because it was just like this, you know, it was hot as hell.
It's horrible.
Rode through probably one of the worst like monsoon type storms I've ever ridden through. I mean, we got almost everything except snow on that trip. So I came back fucking worse for the wear, beaten up. That Sportster was definitely tested. But like a whole new rider, man. It was crazy. It's crazy what something like that does to you.
So that was your first like real long trip?
Real long trip. I mean, I had done like 900-mile trips, something like that, but that used to be my whole trip. I'd go 900 miles somewhere and I'd arrived. But then I took that and made that a 1-day click.
Yeah.
Suddenly we're doing 900 miles a day. You know, it's a totally different experience.
Well, like for us, like here in Dallas, like, you know, we say this a lot. It's like you need to get 900 to 1,000 away to be somewhere you want to. I mean, realistically, from here to like Denver is like 800 or something like that. But yeah, it's like, you know, that 600 to 1,000 miles is kind of like where you start getting to places you actually want to be at.
Exactly.
You know, so.
And Texas is huge. I feel like you have to go 4,000 miles to get out of it.
Yeah, technically just off a little bit, but El Paso to here is halfway to LA.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so if you go from here to El Paso, it's just under halfway. So like basically it's like when you're coming home, like I said, I drive it all the time, but when you're coming home you're like, fuck, we're finally in Texas. I'm like, fuck, we're only halfway.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so big and it's all the same.
Exactly.
Man, you Texans love Texas though. I get it.
I said it the other day. It's like, I don't give a shit, but I know if I left Texas and moved somewhere else, I'd be some hardcore like Texas fucking rocks kind of dude.
Don't mess with Texas.
Yeah, all that shit. So
you don't know queso.
Yeah,
the Texans are always talking about queso, Lone Star beer, Topo Chico, all that shit that I didn't know about until I think it was hand built. I learned about all the Texas shit I was missing. People made it very clear that Texas is better than everywhere else.
We just have Whataburger, and that's the shit. Y'all have that down there, don't you?
We do in Florida. Yeah, we have Whataburger. Was it honey butter chicken biscuit?
Hell yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. And you've done like the recent trips you've done, like from, what was it when you came out here? Like you did that shit solo, right? Like,
yeah, I'm still alone. So what's happening right now? I don't really care who hears this, I guess. So I was a high school teacher for 7 years. I just finished my 7th year, and I was just done with it. I love teaching. I love children, but
so that's how you were able to go to Born Free last year.
Summer's off.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell did you get all that time off? I didn't want to ask and get in pride, but then I was like, it clicked.
Yeah, summer's off. So,
yeah.
You know, it's a very draining emotionally, you know, that experience. And of course, your hands are tied in a lot of things. And I just found myself not loving it the way I would. I can't be an effective educator if I'm not into it. So called my principal and I said, hey, I'm quitting. So I quit my job. And luckily, you know, I had already received a summer job offer in Oklahoma. So I kind of knew that I had that opportunity. Quit my job, left my entire life in Orlando. So I still have stuff there, but I packed what I could fit on that FXR and I just took off. So really I'm drifting right now.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm living off the bike. I have a place in Oklahoma that I'm working out of, and graciously my boss kind of lets me live there for free. He pays me as enough to live, and that's my home base, you know, like if I need to go somewhere,
it's good to be there because you're center, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've always told people, like here, you know, it isn't that bad to go to Orlando if we have to, or, you know, Sturgis or fucking, you know, Born Free.
It's a good spot, and I'm there till Sturgis. I'll ride to Sturgis, do the work I got to do in Sturgis, and then from there, wherever I want, which is pretty cool. It's liberating. You know, if people ask, where do you live? My answer is my stuff is in Orlando, but that's really where that stops. That's wherever I want.
Well, that's the dream. I think a lot, you know, like, you know, I guess you don't have kids or anything, right? Yeah. So it's like, you know, like me, I had kids young. So my kids are almost all grown up. You know, like my daughter's about to be 17.
Wow.
And then my son, he's just 9. So, you know, I still got a ways for him. But, you know, that's the only thing that's kind of got me stuck here. I don't like to say stuck. It's the only thing that's
You're grounded.
keeping me here.
You've got roots.
Yeah, like me and my wife got the van, and even though we use it for delivering parts and picking up shit and buying bikes and picking them up, we also have that goal of wanting to set it up and just kind of do like a 2 or 3 month tour, and then like maybe I'll stop in this town and airbrush some shit, do some paint on something, and then recoup some money and then get back on the road and go see some shit. And it's totally gonna happen. But, you know, then it's like, you know, for now I have to have a shop to make money, and so it's like you get kind of like wrapped up into building a business.
Yes.
And then you don't want to like just like leave the business and just let all this shit go sit in the storage while I go, you know. It's just tough to figure it all out, basically.
It is tough. I mean, I'm fortunate. The way I'm making money now is totally remote, so I don't need to be anywhere to do it. If I didn't have that, I don't think I could do it as long as I plan to do it, you know? Yeah. It's really just a good time, you know? I'm 29 years old. I'm about to be 30, and I think I woke up and I was like, I'm not living the life I wanted to live. I got that teaching job at 21, so I was still a kid. I didn't really get the experience and discover who I was. I never really had spent time with myself, you know. Like that's part of the reason I need to do this trip alone, not even with friends, because you really don't know what you're capable of until you're alone with yourself in a helmet, and until like your fucking bike is in pieces in a parking lot in 95-degree weather, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? Like, you really don't know what you're made of and what your limits are until things like that happen, or you're broken down in the desert.
So basically,
you know?
like you know, when you and your old man left each other, that's kind of when you started kind of getting down the bike path and doing all that stuff. Yeah,
it was definitely I tell everyone motorcycle saved my life. I could have made a lot of terrible decisions. They definitely saved my life, and I think Harley Davidson is just the culture within that subculture that I really identify with and belong to. You know, I'm not gonna lie and say that my bike doesn't fucking leak and have issues and all that shit, but that's part of the journey. I wouldn't know as much about FXRs and Evos as I do, and believe me, I still have a lot to learn, if that bike was a perfectly running bitch. You know, the fact that she has issues is the reason why I know what the parts are called, where they go, what they should look like. And when I pull over, I'm like, that thing is fucked up.
You know, the other thing, it's like people like you, like with your experiences and your enthusiasm, are kind of the people that, not saying you should go get a job at Harley, but those are the kind of people that I want to go buy shit from Harley. People that have passion for it. And it's like, we had been talking recently about how like you walk into these dealerships and these people are like, not everybody. There's always people that are really into their job.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually the techs in the back, but the rest of the people are just clueless on what's going on. You know, they're like just not in tune with the world of motorcycling, or they're maybe only stuck in one like genre of the style of bikes or subculture of it, basically.
I think, I mean, the whole, I love Harley, but I think the whole motor company is so stuck on the idea of sales that they're not hiring motorcycle enthusiasts, they're hiring salesmen.
Yeah.
And it you know, I'm sure they look for the combination first, but you're not always going to find that. So then they'll hire like a car salesman or a insurance salesman. They want a salesman, and then they have to create motorcycle enthusiasts. So it's like back ass words. You know, you should be hiring motorcycle enthusiasts and then teach them to be salesmen, which shouldn't be hard if they're passionate about it.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it'd be super easy.
Yeah.
For people who are interested, and the people that are coming in there are interested to buy something. And if you're already interested, then those two interests meet, and then you have conversation, and conversations make sense.
You know, they think it's this big riddle, you know, how do we sell bikes to people, or how do we sell bikes to young people? And it's not that hard. I mean, of course, there are some variables that make it difficult, like price and the economy and what, you know, cost of living and all these things that we struggle with when you're trying to deal with a younger market. But you're not going to sell a new bike to someone in their 20s by like car salesman tactics. It doesn't work. It's all about aesthetics. It's about a feeling they get when they're on the bike, or the feeling they get when they're at a bike event. Like, I want to be a part of this, or I want to be that person on that bike. That's really what resonates. And a hard sell isn't going to work.
Yeah. It's probably, I don't know. I have like weird ideas about it, but it's like you could probably, if you restructured an entire dealership and you kind of like made the whole dealership feel like they're all enthusiasts there, like they all ride bikes, they all are on it, and maybe the dealership itself had, you know, like did events where they're actually doing, instead of just relying on their hog chapter to do all the shit for them. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of shit, and that's a rabbit hole that's not really that important. So
I know it is.
I don't want to take your time to go down that, but I'm really, to be honest with you, man, I'm amazed. Like, I think that like you seeing the bike, and then, you know, you being inspired by your friend, and then starting to take these trips, and the travel bug, which I think has hit just about everybody, or, you know, will at least for sure. To me, that's fascinating. That's cool shit to me. That's the kind of stuff that like inspires me, you know. And you're also like, what's the club thing that you're?
Oh, the Iron Lilies.
Yeah. So what's all that stuff about?
You know, I'll give a lot of credit to that, because especially if I hate to harp on being a girl, because I'm one of those people that I don't want to be identified as a girl on a bike, but you can't fight it sometimes.
Okay, girl on a moto.
I know, girl on two wheels. I can't change it now. It's like nobody knows my real name, so I'm stuck with it. Yeah. But when you're first starting to ride, usually girls will ride with dudes, which is fun. I love riding with guys, but it's never the same. Yeah. Guys either show off because they're like, oh, chick on a bike, let me do a fucking wheelie and dump my bike because I'm trying to impress her, or they're impatient, you know, and they want to fucking rip or do dangerous shit that maybe someone who's new, and especially a girl with a weight difference or whatever, doesn't feel comfortable enough doing what they're doing, so then they're turned off to the whole idea of it together, you know. So it's hard to learn to ride with dudes. When you're confident, who cares?
Yeah,
you know, it's hard to learn that way. So we have this group of girls in Orlando that thought up this riding group, we'll call it, because the word club is kind of associated with a lot of things. So this riding group, and it was just really just to get together, have fun, ride around, and not feel that pressure to be something you're not, or to be better than you are, to have a certain kind of bike, or to wear a certain thing. Yeah. And we realized very quickly that a lot of women were seeking the same thing, and not just in our area, but all over the country. So we restructured it, you know, because girls on bikes can go one of two ways. They can be like models, where they wear shorts and they sit on a Sportster, take a picture, and then they roll it back in the garage. Or they can honestly love it, want to know more about it, put the miles down, and, you know, learn to do it the right way with the right guidance. So that was the route we decided we wanted to take. And it's an uphill battle, because no matter what, when people see a girl on a motorcycle and she takes pictures of it, everyone assumes you don't actually ride your bike. I mean, people still walk up to me and say, so is that yours? Or, You just take pictures on it. I'm like, no, I just take pictures on it. I don't even know who the fuck's bike this is.
Yeah,
it's not mine. So we were fighting that image, and we were trying to find more women who wanted to be a part of that mission of, paving their own road on two wheels. And we made it international, and I think we're probably at 75, 80, maybe 85 members across the world. I mean, we've got some in Australia, we've got 1 or 2 in Asia, 2 in South America, and most of them are concentrated in the central southeastern United States. But it's so rad, like when we see 2 girls, like we'll have 2 girls join from Tennessee, and now we can link them up and they can go ride together, and it's just a nice...
No, it is cool. And also, like, with you starting doing trips and you get these... It's the same way with motorcycle clubs, but then you have a reason, like, hey, we're going to stop through Tennessee and meet up with our,
Right, with the girls who live here. And I mean...
we'll stay. Maybe they'll carry on with us, whatever the case may be.
Exactly. You always have a couch to crash on. You've always got someone to ask when you need advice about something. It's a really powerful community and platform. And
I think there's lots of women that are, in every city... that want that do, like you just said, they kind of like get in bikes, and chicks that work at Harley dealerships, and then they kind of like fall into riding with the other guys that work there. And when you have these type of clubs, like some of the other ones as well, like it gives them like this like connection to other women riding. And what I've noticed about the ones that are local to here is like they're not all on Harleys, they be on whatever, which is still cool to me.
Yeah, ours isn't Harley exclusive. It's 2 wheels, man. You just have to own a bike and put down miles. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't really know, like, I don't have the male perspective on what it's like to be a dude learning to ride. I think dudes are naturally more independent, and I think they might go into motorcycling for different reasons. Girls, I think the common thread is a lot of girls who find motorcycles outside of maybe like a legacy. If your dad rode and you've always grown up riding, that's one thing. But girls who find it on their own, a lot of it is in pursuit of something to build their confidence. Because there's nothing that makes you feel like more of a fucking badass than being on a motorcycle. So you'll find that common thread is that they're just trying to find a way to feel good about themselves or challenge themselves or be different, do something they never thought they could do. And you're finding other women who have that same, I don't want to call it an insecurity, but they forge the same path. So we identify with each other, we understand each other. Like if one of our members dumps their bike or slips in the rain or something happens, never is it anything but encouragement. And it's usually me. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've dumped shit all the time. Like, it's gonna happen, not a big deal. Pick it up, get on it, and keep going. And that's what people need.
Yeah.
Especially when they're new. People need a safe place to get advice, to feel included, to feel safe. And that's kind of what we're aiming for, is just a place for all of us to like feed off of each other and hopefully inspire more women so that it's not a novelty anymore. Like I think in the next couple of years we're going to get to the point where people aren't going to break their necks when they see a girl on a bike. It's just going to be another person on a bike.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. I don't think it's, fuck getting free shit because you're a girl on a bike. That's fucking stupid. If someone wants to give me free shit, I hope it's because my bike is cool, not because I'm a chick on a bike,
Yeah, I mean, not to, I guess the sexist part of me, I guess, I don't even know if it's the right word to put it, but sometimes it does suck when you're a guy and you're like, fuck, man, that girl's just getting shit because she's a girl painting or she's a girl doing this. It's
no,
like,
I get it. Yeah.
And it's like,
no, it totally isn't fair. Listen, I'm not going to, I don't turn down free shit. So if someone says, hey, you're a girl, let me send you some shit, I'm going to take it. But no, it's not fair.
I think it's cool. Like in one sense though, not just being a woman riding a bike, but there are a lot of women riding bikes, but they ain't putting down miles yet. So to me, like that is something that speaks a lot more volume than if you were just a girl ripping around town, taking cute pictures on your bike all the time.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, like I said, that's inspiring to me as a man, looking at someone that's doing miles regardless of your gender. So to me, that shit's cool. Those are the kind of people that I would be more interested in doing work with than just whoever's got, showing their ass and their tits on their bikes.
Right.
That also might do wheelies or do whatever, but that's the only reason why they're getting big. Nobody gives a shit about the bike. You're a hot chick on a bike.
Yeah.
Like that's why you got 50,000 followers, not
right.
because
like, you don't need a bike, girl. Like you're gonna be hot on a fucking tricycle.
Yeah.
You don't need a motorcycle. Yeah. I mean, I hope that pretty soon it's just gonna be where everybody kind of sees it as normal.
Yeah.
It being a novelty, great. But I'm ready for that to die. And I've got a couple like friends who are women who are builders or welders, and a lot of them, they're tired of it too. They don't want to be invited to a bike show because they're a girl builder. They want to be respected as a builder.
Yeah.
And I know one in particular. What I'm thinking of is she's turned down multiple shows because she didn't want it to be associated like that. She'd rather just build and sell and restore and flip and be unknown than be known because she's a girl.
Yeah.
And I have a huge respect for that. And I think that's the way the whole industry really needs to go is fuck.
Yeah. I can't really knock the people that take the opportunities that are given to them because of it. Like I just said, I'm just hating a little bit. I got a little hate.
I mean,
in
I'm
me.
not dumb. If someone wants to give me a pipe, I'm not going to be like, no.
Yeah.
But,
Is it because I'm a girl? Because if so, I don't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm not an idiot. But, I'm vocal about the fact that sometimes I feel like we as women may not deserve something as much as a man does. But, at the same time, if I say no to something, they're just going to turn to another girl.
Well, there's also like, there's a lot more of me out there painting bikes or building bikes or riding bikes, men. But, there is a scarcity of women that do it. And as you're saying, it is growing and it is getting bigger, and it will become a much more normal thing for us to see soon. But right now it's still, it's normal to me because I've been around bikes my whole life. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, seeing the women putting down miles. I mean, there's a chick here local. Her name's Bree. She used to hang out at, like, we have a Chopper Supply Co. That's a tongue twister. She's on a Sportster, and I remember like when I first met her, it was 2016. It was the end of the year, and they went to that Babes Ride Out thing, and I think it was in like Joshua Tree that year.
Yes.
And she went there, went all the way up the coast to fucking Seattle, all the way across to like
That a girl.
like. I haven't even done a major trip like that. And, and I fancy myself a fucking traveler like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I was like, man, that's fucking rad as hell. And it's like her and her friend, just two girls just ripping up and down up the coast, over camping, breaking into fucking places and showing cool things on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, these girls are going harder than us dudes out here, to be honest with you. So
Yeah. And I mean, listen, you don't fuck with chicks on bikes. 'Cause it's a scary hurdle to jump in the first place. So if a girl's willing and able to jump into motorcycles, period, she's probably willing and able to do a lot more. You know?
For sure.
And you'll find, I mean, dudes too, but you'll find some of the like most, sometimes crazy, but some of the most like independent, strong women in this industry. And I like seeing that they're more visible now than they have been in the past few years. It's really cool.
So like this job you got now up in Oklahoma, you've only been doing this for like what, a month and some change now, basically.
So for 3 weeks.
So you put you quit the teaching job just in May, right, or right at the end of June?
Yeah. I didn't really tell anybody I was doing this, so I didn't tell my parents till I was already in Oklahoma.
Damn.
So I just packed my shit and left. Decided that I wasn't going back to Florida. That I was, gonna stay on the road. The only reason I'm going back is to sell my stuff eventually, But so
you know what? Not to break it away, but I think what you're doing is so cool because, like you said, you're from Florida, right? And so your roots, your legacy, all that's there. Like doing this, you're gonna meet so many people across the country from all walks of life.
Yeah.
I feel like you're gonna be more in line if you are eventually looking to meet somebody. Like you're gonna be more to find someone more adequate to you than just looking in your fucking melting pot.
Yeah, and it's not even just that. It's just networking, period. I think last summer a majority of our trip we did camping, but we also did a lot of couch surfing, and that was within the moto community. It was people we'd never met, a lot of them through Instagram.
Yeah.
And that trip really taught me how easy it is to make connections in this industry if you're genuine. And all of the jobs that I've gotten that have enabled me to do this, that have enabled me to quit teaching and all this stuff, are because of traveling and networking. I met my current boss at a motorcycle event. Nice. I work for American Flat Track because I was at one of their races and I had ridden there. It's just a tool, I think, at this point. I'm using the traveling because it satisfies me, it fills my soul, it gives me confidence, but it's also a tool that I can use to propel whatever
everything.
This new path is.
Like just being a fan of social media and like social media is what inspired me to travel. I always wanted to, but like before social media became such a big thing and it was in your face every day, it was like every once in a while you're at a doctor's office and they got a National Geographic on there. Like, oh, that place exists. And now it's like you're seeing rad people doing rad shit everywhere
all the time. Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck, that's in Texas. And you're like, okay, it's on the other end. So that's kind of far, but
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. You just like realize that all this stuff is within reach, and then you look at your own social media and you're like, I'm a fucking boring motherfucker. Like, all I got is pictures of my Jordans and what I ate for breakfast, and this motherfucker's climbing a mountain, you know, and camping on the side of a highway and just doing shit that, to some people might look and be like, well, like, you know what? Okay, so a friend of mine, this is off topic, but a friend of mine that I went to high school with, he did everything right. College, he's an insurance salesman, fucking amazing, has a wife, fucking 2 sets of twins.
So everything I didn't do.
Yeah, everything I didn't do either. But he's he's successful, or I can't speak on his happiness, but he portrays it in a really nice way. So he has this big insurance company now. He's like a State Farm guy, but he has his own, whatever they call it. And he reached out to me last week and goes, hey man, I want to we do a spotlight on small businesses and we want you to come out and talk. And I'm like, my small business and your small business are like 2 different worlds. Like, I feel like, because he talks to a lot of professional type people, and I'm like, dude, I'm like against all that shit. Like, I'm more like, sell your house and go travel, buy a van, Right. So my advice for, financial, stability in life is like, have a lot of bikes that you own, so if you get in a bind, you can sell them.
Exactly. No, everyone asks me, where are you getting the money to do this? I'm like, I'm spending the money I have. I mean, I don't have children to save for, so I have the ability to maintain a very high rate of spending if I need to.
Do you feel like you find more happiness in investing in the experiences and shit that you do rather than just owning shit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would rather spend money on a road trip, blow money in my gas tank than buy a new bike or buy a new car. My car is a piece of shit, and I'm about to get rid of it just so I can put more miles on this bike out here. You know? But that's just the way I've chosen to live my life, and I don't really need to build a nest egg. I don't need to invest in things or in a lot of, because if I'm just taking care of me, there's really not much that I require. So, I'm not going to advise somebody with 4 kids to quit their job and go on the road for a year. That's probably irresponsible. But if there's somebody out there who has a job they're not happy with, or a job that's flexible, and they just want to go see some shit, fucking go, because you don't know where you're going to be tomorrow, or what the state of that place is going to be tomorrow. We've got national parks that are growing and changing, and buildings that are crumbling, and all these things all the time that will prevent you from being able to do what you want. So if you have the itch to go do something or see something, do it while you can. I don't believe in postponing something.
Yeah, I agree.
Reason,
that's always been my model. Like, before my business was The Fast Life, it was called Live Fast Customs, and I grew up with, my dad, he used to have like this old picture of James Dean. Like, he was always a James Dean fan, and that old saying, live fast, die young, and live a pretty corpse. It's always resonated with me ever since I was younger, because it's like, that makes sense. And then we started riding bikes, back in the day, and it's like, fuck yeah, live fast sounds cool on this thing. And then, it just kind of always evolved. But, when people ask me what it stands for, it's not like ripping and running and being a wild ass. It's about living your life, in a hurry, more or less, instead of just assuming, oh, well, I'll check that place out next year.
Yeah.
I'll do this.
You never know how long you got. Yeah. Never, And I would put that same token on enjoying experiences with people, enjoying people. I devote a lot of my time to getting to know people, which has helped me business-wise. It's how I create business connections, get the opportunities I do. But it's not just that. It's, you never know when you're going to meet someone like that again, or when you're going to meet that person again. So,
or, like when you meet people and you click, sometimes you're only clicking at these points in your life. Like, you might always be able to call that person a friend, but you might have a 4-year run with a person that you motherfuckers were irreplaceable. Like, you could not pull you apart. And then 8 years later, it's like, hey, man, you remember that? Yeah, we talked about it, but it's just not the same again.
But, every person or every connection you have helps cultivate who you are, right? Sure. So even if you are no longer friends with somebody or whatever, that time that person was a part of your life has shaped who you are today. So if I meet somebody that I feel like is worth investing my time in, I'm going to do it. And if I have the ability to do that all over the country, why the fuck not, And I've learned so many things about motorcycles, about travel, about food, about exercise, about health and living and mental health and all these things from people I've met.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's helping me build the arsenal I need to be my best version of myself. And isn't that the quest? Like, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, all you have is like who you are and your integrity.
Yeah.
So why not invest the time in that you would in like fucking going to the gym, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's
So
just,
what were you teaching when you were a teacher?
guess.
Dude, I'm not
Take a guess. What do you think I teach?
I don't know, fucking English. I'm just
Yeah,
throwing it
I mean, didn't I use the word cultivate? Yeah, I'm an English teacher.
out. Okay.
Yeah, I taught 12th grade English.
Yeah, so I'm that's like my worst subject.
You're fine.
No, I'm like, I can't spell to save my life. Even when it autocorrects me, I still find a way to unspell it right.
Good thing being able to spell is just an obsolete skill anymore. I mean, really, like, who the fuck needs to spell anything on their own? You know, I'm not gonna.
You gotta watch out for those trolls online though. They want to get you for the there.
Well,
there.
I do that. I do that just to be an asshole though. Especially when someone's trying to tell me off, and then I'm like, "Oh, you use that incorrectly." I'll just correct it and put an asterisk and send them on their way.
It's like you end the argument, but you didn't solve the problem of the argument.
Right. Yeah, they're just done at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, teaching English was cool, and that also helped me, you know, because what I do now basically is I manage social media for American Flat Track, which if you don't know what that is, I'm sure you do, but if your listeners don't know what that is, it's basically the fucking raddest motorcycle racing on the planet. They're doing 130 miles an hour on oval tracks or TTs, and it's fucking insane. So I manage social media for that, and then my current boss is a major YouTube vlogger named Adam Sandoval, and he has like
I don't know him, but I know of him.
You know of him.
Yeah.
I mean, most Harley people do. He has raised the most money for veterans than any other person on a motorcycle. He has been to every Harley dealership in the country. I'm sorry, ridden a motorcycle to every Harley dealership in the country, which at the time it was 702. I don't even want to imagine what that was like. If you want to talk about miles, that man has put down more miles than anybody you'll probably ever meet.
Yeah.
But his social media just kind of became such a monster because people just loved what he was doing and the message and his cause. So he's got like 500,000 people that follow him. So he just needed a little help managing it. So and he just bought this really rad motorcycle campground that we're working on.
Nice. Where's it at in Oklahoma?
Moyers is the name of the city, but it's only 3 hours from here, 2.5 from OKC, and 2.5 from Tulsa.
So it's kind of more like up 75 from Dallas?
Yeah, it's only like 50 miles from the Arkansas border. So it's a beautiful place to ride.
So you're like by Talamina Highway and all that shit,
Yeah,
right?
we just did that.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
I like pissed myself with happiness. It was the...
You would never thought that there was something like that tucked in this shithole around here.
No, man. I mean, we were connected in our Sennas while we were riding, and I was like, "What? Where the fuck are we?" And he had the best answer. He goes, "My backyard." I was like, "Yeah, we are in your backyard." But yeah, he's building a.
When will it camp, dude? We've been trying to set up. So when's it gonna be ready?
It's ready. I mean, we always have people on bikes there. It's just there's a lot he wants to do. Like his whole mission is to give back to veterans. So he's sectioning off a portion of it that will forever be free for veterans to stay.
That's dope.
He's got one cabin he's remodeling and devoting. He's building a handicap accessible cabin for, veterans with injuries. And he's going to section off an RV site and a bunch of tent sites that will be free. So we're working on making that right before we give it away to the people who deserve it. He's also building some tree houses on the river because it's riverfront.
Damn.
It's going to be fucking sick. And then he
Is there
also...
beer stores close by?
Yes. And he's going to eventually sell beer. I mean,
Nice.
there's always beer there. I'm not going to lie. And he kind of gave me free reign. Depending on how long I'm going to be there, he said, if anybody wants to throw a motorcycle event here, all I want is the tent fees. He's like, I just want the fees for the campground. He's like, but they can do whatever they want with my land. He's got 40 acres, riverfront. We're cutting a dirt track in there. I mean, anybody listening that wants a fucking rad spot to do a chopper show, I got one.
We had been
cool.
talking. We were talking with Holt and them before he left about doing kind of like how you guys sectioned off the East Coast Dyna FXR thing, or I don't. East Coast is up north like Barnstorm.
Yeah, ours
and them.
is southeast.
Southeast. So we were talking about doing one for us, just kind of a central thing. So I don't know. But you know what? I have too many fucking irons in the fire right now. And
More thing.
As much as I really want to cultivate a show, because we talked about it so much on this podcast from day one that we wanted to do a show that was just for our side. You know, like
Midwest. What would you call that?
Yeah, Midwest.
Midwest.
Because I didn't really want to do it in Austin like everybody else does.
Yeah.
You know, Austin's like it's too easy to have a good event there because everything's cool there.
Let's call it like Tarklahoma. I call where we live Arklahoma because it's best of both.
Yeah.
Tarklahoma would include.
No,
all
but
of that.
you know, like we have a bike night on Tuesdays. It's not me, but we, as in me and my buddies, we have this thing called the DFW Dyna crew.
Okay.
And so we've been talking about doing just like a camping kind of thing recent, but like Dallas Fort Worth has nothing but like state parks, and those, you know, you're buying a campsite, but you're only getting like, you know, you can only get 4 people per campsite, and it's 10 of us. We just all want to go fucking sit around the fire and camp and drink beer.
That's not how our shit works. Yeah, it's pretty much we had a group of 20 come through, and so they bought out 3 of our small cabins that are right next to each other, and they just rolled their bikes in. They set up this big bonfire, had this huge party. It was fun. We all floated in the river. And then, of course, you got the Talamina Skyway that's only 50 miles away. So you ride 50 fun miles to do another 54, I think, is the length of that road. Another 54 amazing miles. You know, you can, in half a day, you've ridden one of the best roads between the Smokies and the Rockies for sure. And then that's not the only good people. There's tons of good roads.
I mean, you go into Arkansas right there too, and
the Ozarks.
Yeah, the Ozarks not far. Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm inspired now.
Yeah, you really. I mean, it's coming from here. It's 3 hours. I mean, you could do that in a weekend. You just run up for one weekend.
Yeah, like you get off work
fun,
Friday, you know, 3, run up there, do that, party all weekend.
Yeah. You know what you should come and play with us for is he's doing this third attempt at a break the world record. So he's twice now he's failed at breaking the world record for the longest parade of Harley Davidsons, which does sound like a nightmare when you phrase it like that. But the record is held by the country of Greece. So American-made fucking motorcycle, and that record is held in Greece. So he's like titled this whole campaign "Bring It Home." Like, well, fuck that. Like that shit belongs in America. So he on September 15th, we're gonna try to ride from Paris Harley Davidson to one of the Choctaw casinos, and we're aiming for, I think it's just under 3,000 is the number we need. So let's get some fucking people from Texas up there. Let's fucking do it, because it's going to be a whole weekend. It's going to be like a festival.
Nice.
We're going to...
Yeah, I got family from Paris.
Yeah.
So.
It's going to... I mean, we're going to open up the campground. We're going to have live music, fucking drinks. We're going to have the river. I mean, we're going to make it this huge thing.
How far are y'all from Paris?
45 minutes.
45 minutes?
45 minutes from Paris. That's it.
All these hidden gems so close by. It's just when you meet people and you talk to people, you find it out. You network it out, and you can find these. We've been trying to find a place, because the only place cool that's going that way or not going to Austin is we have Turner Falls, like off 35.
Yep.
Which is a cool spot, but it's like it's ran down, because it's like the place that OKC goes to. It's where Dallas goes to. It's like everybody goes there. It's just fucking like god awful with people. You know, it's just not. You feel like you're at fucking Disneyland. Like, I'm supposed to be in nature. I'm not supposed to see this many people.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at Walmart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And at first, because I'm from a big city and I've always grown up that way. I had to edit that out. I didn't know how I was going to react to like country life. But you know what? It has been the most fun experience. Like he taught me how to hill climb a side-by-side.
Nice.
It scared the piss out of me, but it was fun. I mean, we just take the side-by-sides up in the hills. There's 40,000 acres of trails.
Wow.
So we'll take the fucking side-by-sides up in the hills, and we'll disappear for like 6-7 hours just with booze, drinking, ripping through the fucking hills, find these creeks. We like swim in the creeks and then come back, you know? And, a lot of people grew up like that. You know, if you got the country life, that's kind of how you grew up, but I didn't.
I didn't either.
So that's just such a fun new dynamic, like just fucking swimming in the river. There's ducks and chickens running around, so I'm always out there staring at the chickens in the morning, like just amazed by it. You know, like fucking rooster crows in the morning. What is that? That's such new shit to me. But it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. And I think, people who roll in, especially motorcyclists, they are looking for a break, and that's why they hit the road, is to like clear their heads. And it's such a nice thing to have somewhere to roll into, to like...
Well, when you're at a campground or you go on motorcycle camping trips, like, you really get to check out. You check out
Yeah.
from like that daily grind of, you know, business and whatever your story is, you know what I mean? But like me, I just moved back downtown, and it's because I really missed it when I lived there before. But I think it's going to be my last run of being in an urban place. I think from here on out, it's probably going to be, you know, like finding some small town, but that has a really cool vibe to it that, you know, like that smaller community kind of thing is kind of what I would rather have. You know, like not as many options. It's easy to find a place to eat when you got 2 places to pick from, you know what I mean? But when you're like downtown, like we have 4 bars. They're building a bar in my fucking building right now, which is
that's a nightmare.
Probably not going to be a good thing for me.
Yeah, I'd be fucked.
There's a 7-Eleven next door that sells every kind of beer I like. So it's like it's the last party for me living there, in my opinion. But after that, it's going to be. I want to kind of what you're doing, you know. I think, you know,
you got to just turn down the noise.
Yeah,
There's a lot of noise, and you don't realize how much it affects you. Like, I mean, I was turning into like an asshole, and I was just making bad decisions. And then there was a point where I just didn't even want to like be around people anymore because it's just so much noise.
I think I'm a huge asshole right now. Because I haven't had a bike in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And then, you know, the heat here just pisses you off as soon as you feel it. You know. Yeah. And then, you know, like we're fucking swamped. And so it's like, fortunately, all my customers are cool, and they're not like, you know, hey man, you know,
give me that shit yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I don't, you know. Plus, I'm at a position where like if somebody does trip, I'm like, what's your address? I'm shipping this shit to you. I'm not gonna be stressed out to do artwork. You know what I mean? So, but no, like it is just a miserable time right now, and it's like I just need a bike, and that's why I'm like busting ass trying to get this one done. Plus, I've been Ubering to bike night the last couple weeks.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
You might as well just not go. Or ride bitch. I mean, it's the same kind of...
Bike night is life, bro.
Rent a bike. Don't Uber.
No. I live downtown, and the bike night's in Deep Ellum. It's like a mile away.
Oh, okay. So, that's not so bad. Do
you
have him drop you off like a block away?
No, I drop off right in front of him.
Well, at least maybe they think you're just coming to party.
I am coming to party.
I see my friend rolling an Uber. I'm like, ooh, somebody's serious.
Yeah. Bike night is life.
Yep. Nah, I feel you for sure.
No, but that's cool, man. I knew that guy you were talking about, Adam Sandoval.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing some of his videos pop up on like Facebook and stuff like that, and you know, he's been through Dallas before and shit like that. Obviously.
Oh yeah, he's been to all the dealers. Yeah, he's man. I don't want to plug him, but I think he's, at least from my sector of the community. You know, I think I hail from this like the girl side, but also like the gritty FXR Dyna side. That's, I don't know, we definitely see things differently than like the old big bagger touring people. And he's a younger dude on a bagger because he's put down so many miles, but he is, you know, still very appreciative and is coming into all the scenes, you know, and I think him bringing me on was to help him to broaden his horizons a little bit, because he's teaching me a lot about the part of the community that I didn't understand, and I'm teaching him about things.
Yeah.
And I just think that, you know, the videos that some people watch, if they only watch like certain ones, they don't get a full perspective of what he's done or who he is. But his whole goal, if you want to put it together, is to have fucking fun on motorcycles and then use that to give back to the veterans, which, you mean, who can fucking shit on that? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I mean, who deserves it more at this point than, you know, people like that? So anybody who fucking wants to ride their bike somewhere fucking awesome needs to come and let us know, because we're always having a party up there.
That's
whenever
cool.
a bike rolls through.
I'm definitely coming, because
Please.
You know, the FXR Jam was up in Arkansas a couple weeks back, and my buddy Mike, he took a spill out there, and I was at his house the other day, and you know, of course, I went to Daytona. I mean, not Daytona, Cincinnati. No, fuck, I'm all fucked up right now.
Where you just rode to?
Indianapolis.
Yes.
I went to Indianapolis. Yeah,
right.
It's up there. Yeah, Dayton, Cincy, and Indianapolis. And my trip got cut short, obviously, because that bike got stolen.
Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about that. The
I don't
fuck.
either. So it got stolen. So then, of course, I flew home, and that was like, it cut my trip, you know. And I canceled Sturgis this year, which
really,
I'm so behind, because
wow,
you know, the setback from when we went to California, you know, me and my wife for her birthday, our anniversary, and to do some business and stuff, and see her whole family's from SoCal, so we went up there. That was a trip that we plan every year, or we were planning for sure this time, and that's a 2-week trip.
Yeah.
And then at the beginning of May, like May 1st, after all this stuff's booked for 2 weeks, my landlord at the house goes, hey, you know, I'm going to sell the house, so, you know, you got to move.
Dick.
So we had to find a place to live and take that 2-week trip and this. So that kind of put things behind here at the shop. And then, then the bike thing, I mean, it kind of put a setback, and then me wrecking the van last week, setback. So it's been one after another
you're on a fucking roll.
Yeah. I say that's the third one. So they say it comes in 3, so I should be done by now. But, you know, it's just getting caught up, you know, and the good thing is for us, like, our helmets have been going so well.
Yeah, you've been cranking them out.
That I think, and I'm hoping and praying that basically I can live off helmets from here on out. So I don't have to take in these bigger projects, and I can free up time so I can start investing more time to ride, more time to do these podcasts and like, you know, do this kind of stuff, and also like practice my welding and all the other things that I want to get good at. But I can't right now because that one bagger that's on that shelf right there that's 22 pieces all has to get some artwork on it.
Yeah.
And there's 3 of them right there. Yeah. You know? So it's just one of those deals, man. Like I'm bummed because this would have been my 5th year in a row for Sturgis. But you know, it's not the most important thing in the world.
No.
You know?
Priorities. And Sturgis isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, Sturgis ain't Daytona, so.
No, that'll be there, and every year I feel like it's getting better, man. They're adding new stuff. Did you see that Camp Zero that popped up? So a couple of my friends are part of it, but it's basically like they're bringing the gritty shit back to Sturgis. They've got like a couple of teepees, but it's basically I don't know, it's dirt cheap to camp there, and it's like fucking free for all, like roll your bike in, pitch a tent, we don't give a fuck, drink booze, rip around, like.
That's kind of what it needs to be, you know. And I think that like when you see all these like towns and shit, like I don't know if you've been through like Moab and all that stuff yet. But it's like these towns that have been there, but all of a sudden they become popular in these, like, I guess our generation, or, you know, yours, I don't know if we're the same one or not, but like you get these people with a little bit more ideas and they come in and they change things, so it's not all baby boomer shit, you know? And now I think Sturgis needs something like that. Like, it's gotten so outrageous to go there that where it's like, dude, like there's all this fucking land. You mean to tell me that nobody can just make this affordable for us?
Right. Well, and I think they think that's what we want, or I don't know. I mean, you're right. It probably has to do with the aging demographic of motorcyclists. Like as they get older, they want more comfort, less like dirt. You know, they don't want to be chewing sand for breakfast. But you know, that whole chopper culture, and even just when you're younger, you're just like, fuck it, I'll sleep under a van, or you know, fuck it, I'll put a tarp on my bike. And so there is more of that. Like last year, they did the first like Wild Gypsy tour, which was the girls, bring the young girls to Sturgis. And this Camp Zero, I think, is just bringing the rowdy back to Sturgis, like the nitty gritty, like we're here to party and to ride bikes, shit, and that's all it is. Like I think they have a shower, I think. a shower.
There's a water hose.
Yeah, but it's cheap and it's supposed to be fucking fun and rad. And so I don't really know where I'm staying for Sturgis, but I might stay there because that's the most intriguing thing. And that's the kind of shit, like you're saying, that
you want to experience that too.
Yeah, that'll keep Sturgis alive, and that's the kind of shit that we need to bring to Daytona to keep that alive.
Well, it's like, you know, like these smaller shows, like the Giddy Ups, the Born Frees, your show. Those are the kind of things that are going to blow up the way Sturgis did because they're structured around like our generation of what we want to do instead of, and that's why so many people have maybe that go to these shows, like I just mentioned, haven't been interested to go to Sturgis because they look at Sturgis like, oh, it's the grandpa dad biker event that you got to have, you know, fat stacks to go to.
Yeah.
When realistically, it's the best riding, some of the best riding ever.
Hell yeah.
You know, there's so much culture up there, and just you're around so many bikes, and the town is great, like I said earlier. But it does, like you said, it does need that kind of more just grassroots type shit.
Yes.
You know, just making it feel like, you know, just get here, and the trip will provide, or the road will provide, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, what do you really need? You need a fucking place to lay your head and, I don't know, fucking shower apparently. But I mean, I feel like showers are optional when you're on the road. But
there's a truck stop somewhere.
Yeah, fuck it. You do baby wipe shower, man.
Yeah, I take baby powder showers.
Oh, yes.
It soaks it all up. It just gets soft after that.
Man.
Yeah, so
awesome.
that's cool. So what do you think? Like, I mean, I know you're probably not looking too deep into life and stuff, but what do you think is the, you know, after this, or the goal after the traveling, or just kind of see where the traveling takes you and then just deal with it then? Or
yeah, if you ask me every day, it's different. You know, so my set plans were through Sturgis, and then it was, okay, I definitely have to sell my shit somewhere along the way. I've got to sell my stuff in Florida so I can move. But I mean, opportunities keep popping up. Like I was talking to one of the flat track racers this weekend, and he, he's going to be racing the Black Hills Half Mile, which is in Sturgis.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I might bring a street bike and I might want to ride. And I was like, it'd be fucking sick to go on the road with you for a few days, because he's never ridden distance. He got bitten by the travel bug. He says, just going out for half day rides on his own, because racers typically don't ride street. They don't have number one, have the urge to, and they don't want to take the risk. But when they do, that some of them fall in love with it because they see it's like a whole nother dynamic. So I would love to spend a couple days with him riding wherever we want to go. And then my Adam Sandoval, my boss, got the opportunity to ride on the hot bike tour as like a Grand Marshal type deal. So I guess I got to go to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, every day it's something different. I have been considering relocating semi-permanently to Phoenix. I had never realized like what a rich motorcycle culture that was until I spent like a week there. I've never ridden such beautiful roads, even though it was hotter than a fucking monkey's asshole. It was beautiful. I mean, the desert there is gorgeous. It's only 3 hours from like your SoCal motorcycle mecca. And everybody I met there was just great. I mean, I didn't have one bad experience in Phoenix. So I was considering relocating there, but I also fucking love my Oklahoma. You know? I don't know. I mean, all I know is I want to be able to live somewhere for a couple weeks a month and travel for a couple weeks. That's really how I'm going to start living my life once this trip is over.
Well, you also have to especially if you sell your car and everything, you have to kind of chase the weather too, eventually this year. Because hell, here, right when you cross in Oklahoma, that's like the snow line right there. So basically, y'all in Oklahoma up there, you'll get snow like almost guaranteed every year. Like we might not get snow. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where we live, it's a valley, so they don't get too much snow per se, but they have flood season.
Oh, they do.
So yeah, the valley kind of floods a little bit. It's never anything crazy, but it's enough to be inconveniencing, especially if you're on a motorcycle. You don't fucking ride through a flood. But yeah, there is going to be points where I'm going to have to work around it, and that's kind of why I want to stick to the south for wherever my mailing address is. I want to stay southward. So Phoenix works. It's 12-month riding season, even though 2 of those months it's like 120. You technically can still ride a bike.
It's a different kind of heat. You just got to keep long sleeves on, you'll be good.
Yeah, keep long sleeves on and turn your bike off at every stoplight if it's an Evo.
If it's an Evo,
but
you get your oil cooler on there.
I know, my poor thing, she needs a lot right now. If Phoenix is where I put some roots down, the plan is to tear her all down, powder coat the frame, just take good care of her.
Yeah, just kind of go through a good quick rebuild of it.
Build her back up again.
That's what I'm doing with mine right now. Is just basically going through it. Once I get my money situation better with all this inconveniencing, I want to get that back on the road, and the FXR is just like something I don't really ever want to get rid of.
No.
Don't.
So, yeah. Whenever people are like, I have an FXR for sale, I say, why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I don't know why anyone would ever want to.
Do you still have the Sporty or what?
No, I sold it.
Sold it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew. First of all, it was already too small for me. I hate to say that, but man, that thing was screaming at 90, and I had even changed the front pulley so that it would go a little better at high speed, but struggling.
Was it 883? Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could have put a 1200 kit, but even just the whole stance, I felt like a fucking monkey.
Well, you're used to a bigger. The FXR is not that much bigger than a Sportster, but it's big enough to be comfortable.
It's a good mid-sized bike, I think. If I was a 6'3" dude, I'd feel weird on it, but no, it's a mid-sized bike that's comfortable for me. I don't ever plan to get rid of it because I think it's the first bike that I actually was able to customize to my style. That Sportster I left pretty stock. I changed bars and stuff on it. But that bike is exactly what I wanted it to be. Right, even right down to like the fucking dirt on it. I don't wash it because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I run a fucking Mikuni carb with a S&S teardrop because I fucking want to. You know, like as many people tell me that's fucking stupid. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. I'm like, no, you're fucking stupid. That's what I want. So I'm never getting rid of her. And I think that's an easy bike for anyone to make what they want.
Well, yes, they are. They will test your patience with maintenance, but the same thing though. Like it's not expensive to fix it, even if you do have some real problems.
Dude,
and there's so
Evos
much
solid
parts out there too.
Yeah, they're rock solid, man. I ride that thing like I want it to die, and it isn't.
Yeah.
Things are falling off, things are coming loose, but it's nothing you can't fix. Like I carry right now I have 7 extra exhaust flange nuts because they just rattle the fuck off. All the time I'll look down. I'm like, what the fuck is that jingling sound? And then I look down and it's just rattling. And then I lose it. But, you just learn to carry shit with you, keep tools with you. Vice grips and zip ties will save your life.
What do you think, like when you've done you've been doing your solo trips as of recently, like, to me, like, I just had this podcast where my friend went and did a solo trip all the way to Cali and back.
Uh-huh.
And I
listened to that one too.
Yeah, I did the solo trip to Tennessee and back. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just got lonely. You know, I got lonely when I got to my destination.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. I enjoyed it on the road, like going there.
Yes.
And I think I even said it on there. It's like if I would have, the destination would have kept changing, I think I would have been okay.
Yeah. But
because I got there and then, I didn't have my boys with me or wasn't meeting up with anybody in particular, it was just kind of a lonely.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna be somewhere for a while, that is a real possibility. But I see that as a sign that's maybe something that I need to work on. I get that way. I don't like eating meals alone. Like sometimes I'll skip meals because I just don't like eating alone. So to be comfortable being by yourself is a huge asset the older we get, especially because the way I live my life, I'm so always on the road. I need to learn to just be okay with the quiet, and when you're on the road, it is quiet, you're in your own head, but the act of being on the motorcycle is so distracting, you don't really have to cope with that.
Yeah.
So that, that part of it, I think, is a huge challenge. And you're right, it's there. I think everybody would feel that way if they kind of went somewhere for a week and they were totally alone. It's hard to make your own fun, but with my friend Mallory, she says, only boring people are bored. And I think you can apply that to like that sense of loneliness too. Like learn to adapt to being by yourself, go find ways to distract yourself. And then, when you do that, of course, is when you start meeting new people. Like at these bike events that I go to solo, I may be like walking around a show alone for the first couple hours, but eventually you find somebody and you have a conversation, and then you're out having drinks, and then before you know it, it's like somebody that stays at your house the next event, Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. I definitely grappled with it. My friends rode, my 2 girlfriends, one rode up from Austin, one rode from Pensacola, Florida, and they were both at the campground with me, and fuck yeah, we had a good time. And I definitely struggled when they left, with that, they're gone, I'm by myself, but...
Yeah, I'm very like, because my friends are all spread out too.
Yeah.
That like when I finally like giddy up this year, I did the 4-hour podcast I did with Joe. Yeah. I got so fucking drunk, so I was so excited to be around everybody, and I'm just happy drinking. Yeah. And it is, man. Like I get, especially something like Giddy Up or even the shows like like right now I'm thinking about Giddy Up next year. I'm thinking about it now.
You get that I call it post-show depression. Like totally. When everybody leaves and you're back in your real life, you're like, fuck, man, like why can't that go on forever? But if that was your life forever, you also wouldn't have as much fun when the time came around.
You gotta have the opposite you gotta have
appreciate. Yeah.
So so basically your life is just planned out till Sturgis.
Till Sturgis.
4 weeks.
Yep. That's my hard deadline, but I've got options, and at the end of the day, I've hustled this far. I've managed to find like a real fucking job somehow through social media. I think, that if I have that kind of hustle in me somewhere, I should be able to strum up.
I'm jealous, man. Like you're living my dream. You're riding bikes and doing social media, which is 2 things I love to do.
Yeah.
So it's
a dream. I mean, it's definitely not glamorous, like I wouldn't advise a girl that has to wear makeup every day and smell good to live a life like this, But if you're okay smelling like a dirty foot, like I do right now, sorry.
It's probably because it's fucking sauna. We're sitting here doing a podcast, and I
smelled like one before I got here, but yeah, let's blame it on that. But if you're okay getting a little dirty and being more like yourself every day, who you are, then it's fucking rad. It's so fun to just fucking, even on the campground, just wake up and like be outside all day long and fucking haul lumber and drive a tractor. I learned to drive a fucking tractor. That's cool as shit. And we were a little drunk, but I did it.
You put that on your resume?
Hell yeah, tractor operator and side-by-side hill climber.
Professional partier.
Fuck yeah, dude. And it's this life that enabled that, motorcycles definitely enabled all of that. Fucking I wouldn't drive a tractor if it wasn't for that bike right there.
Yeah, I mean, I've said that before, man. Motorcycles have, I started, I've had a few people, I say a few, there's, a handful of people that said, hey man, you should do a podcast on my story, right? And so the problem is like, how do you do it? Like,
how do you talk about yourself?
Yeah, like how do you do it? And so I asked my buddy Mark, I was like, do you think like you could interview me?
Yeah.
And so that was the thought. But I mean, like I said, all my friends are in Austin or on the other side of town, and we're busy. So I was at home one day and I was kind of stressed out. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna tell my story to myself.
Yeah.
And I recorded it. And I got into motorcycles in 2004, so I started there, and that's kind of right when I started doing custom paint at the same time. So it was kind of like back and forth between the paint and the motorcycle. And I don't know, dude. I'm like 2.5 hours into it, and I'm only to 2014. So.
Well, listen. I mean, at least that's 10 years. But you know what? I think first of all, people definitely want to hear it. I would want to hear that too. And for you, what a good way to be able to reflect on how far you've come. Like, I'm sure you're telling your own story and you're thinking like, oh yeah, that shit happened, or oh yeah, like.
Well, the worst part is like because I paused it there and I stopped doing it, and then I was just thinking, I wanted to listen to it again. Like I don't listen to the podcast again that much anymore, but when I first did, I used to listen to them all over again. Like after we release them, obviously, because if you listen to them before you release them, then you won't put them out.
Right. That's true.
So you listen to them afterwards, which is. I'm contradicting myself because I'm about to listen to myself.
Yeah.
And I probably won't end up putting it out. But
so meta.
When you're like, when you're telling your story, especially like when I'm trying to tell mine as far as like my career in this stuff, I don't want to be biased and think that and say that all my ups and downs were 100% other people's fault, or 100% not because I was an arrogant asshole or whatever the case might have been. And so sometimes it gets hard, like when you're just kind of telling your story, to not be like, you know what, I was a piece of shit at this time in my life. So I've tried to go into the whole thing and just say, look, man, I was a shitty dude, in my relationship status and things like that. Like, I was, I said a lot of things on there that I probably haven't even told anybody. And so
your old lady.
Well, my wife now I met in 2014, so I'm at the point where I met her, but like definitely like. My kids' moms. Yeah. they don't know all the
expose. This
awesome. For sure. But they don't listen to podcasts anyway.
So you think?
Yeah.
They're here now.
But no, it's like I want to do something, but it's weird when if you had all this equipment and you can go home and you could tell your story. I mean, you put a lot of effort into it as opposed to like when you come here,
right?
And then we're just sitting in a hot ass room, and I'm like, hey, so. What's your story? It's like you kind of by the seat of your pants, just kind of saying
word vomit. Yeah. I think it's tough if you're doing it alone. It's tough to be honest with yourself, I think, which is weird. You would think that would be the safest space to say out loud, like, I fucked up.
Well, I think that's what I've done, but when I'm telling a story and it's 2.5 hours long so far, and I'm feeling like, did I ramble too much about certain areas? Is that really that important? I'm not writing a fucking book, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, you're just kind of talking about, like I said, maybe someone can find motivation. I mean, I even said on there, it's like the reason I got into motorcycles was because my first wife, we were having lots of issues and I was a really insecure guy at the time. And I felt like getting a bike because I knew every time they ride by, she'd be like, oh, that's fucking sexy or whatever. So I was like, well, I guess I need to get a bike so she'll like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know how many people share that same experience? I mean, you can thank her for it.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like that going back. It's like, man, like every fucking horrible thing that's happened to me, I'm glad it did. Yeah. And in talking about this telling my story on it, I was talking about some times where I really felt like there was no way I was getting out of this hole.
Right.
Or I fell so far down that I just need to go a different direction. But those things all created a better opportunity or better things in my life. It's just really hard to see down that tunnel when you're in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, no,
I totally empathize with that. I've definitely done and said and plenty of things I'm not proud of. And it took a couple of friends to basically sit me down and say, like, you've got too much shit going on. Like, shit that you created, shit that's out of your control, and it's all, like, combining to bring you down. So when I'm saying like turn down the noise, that's what I mean is I had my whole environment was just polluted and it was toxic and it was turning me into a terrible fucking individual. And and once you feel like shit's already like gone pear-shaped, you have no motivation to make it better. So why not go out and drink on a fucking Thursday, you know, when I have work the next day, because everything's already fucked up.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I had this opportunity to start over and focus more on building me, you know, and getting to the heart of like those shitty decisions or those shitty behaviors that either made me mad at myself or made me lash out on other people. You know, we're not all perfect, and I'm sure maybe on Instagram I look like this really super happy, positive individual, but we're not, you know. We all do
we
some
all have our
fucking...
shit.
Especially if you're on a motorcycle, sometimes you, like, hop off that thing and your nuts are so big, you forget to be polite, you know? Like, even stuff as simple as that. But I've definitely humbled the fuck out of myself doing this, man. It is humbling to be on a motorcycle, whether it's broken down or whether you're in the fucking rain or whether you're in some beautiful mountains and you realize how insignificant you are. You know, the whole act of traveling and living off a bike is super humbling, and I think sometimes we need that shit.
Yeah.
You need to, like, remember that your place in this whole thing.
Man, I feel like what really has been humbling and has helped break down my ego has been, like, surrounding myself with friends that you know, they're not like, fanboying me like, oh, hey, I'm friends with Jace, blah, blah, blah. So they're not putting me on some kind of invisible pedestal, and they like I respect them so much and of who they are and their characteristics of people that I aspire to be like my friends. Yeah. So I've decided to like make my friends people that inspire me instead of finding people that look up to me to make them the people. Like, instead of like creating an audience for me, I want to be somebody else's audience because I want to learn and be a better person from this better person. You know what I mean?
That's it. That is the fucking key. You choose your tribe, and you choose people that will bring you up and challenge you, and vice versa.
So I still might be selfishly taking from people with that, but I'm like, you know, it's like our, you know, I don't know. I just like the idea of that. I don't want to, you know, when I started, it's the same thing, dude. You said it right. When I started traveling on a motorcycle, that's when it started breaking down my ego, and then that's when I started surrounding myself with people that already do this stuff or that have a like for it. And especially when I started hanging around with FXR people, it's like that the FXR community is not about who has the most money in their bike. Fuck no. You know, and so next thing you know, it's like, you know, when I first started heard about the FXR jam, I was like, there's no show, like, there's no.
What are we gonna do?
What kind of coverage is it? You know, like, but then when you find out that you learn and meet these people that make up this subculture of motorcycles, and you realize, like, I'm more interested to be around those people than see their fucking bikes. I just want to be around, you know, Joe and so much all these other people.
There's so much knowledge, and what's great about, at least I know about the FXR community, is that people want to share it.
Yeah.
You know, we want to keep that knowledge alive, and we want to, because everybody, like, the first thing people who don't know about these bikes ask is, well, why is it not a Dyna? Or what makes it different? Or what makes it so special? Why is it the best Harley that Harley ever made?
My friend James, he comes to our bike night. He's on a V-Rod right now. God, you know, poor guy. And so I was driving back from Arkansas the other day, and he goes, give me 3 reasons why, you know, FXR is the best thing.
Yes, that's what they all say.
Yeah, and I was like, I said some stupid joke thing back to him, but I mean, I don't really, there's not a reason, it just is.
Yeah, I mean, you can list off the whole, like, oh, it's got a different frame, it's rubber mounted, it's...
Yeah, you can be a scientific nerd about it, but, you know, dude, it's fucking badass. It feels like you're riding a unicorn when you ride this thing.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, dude, that's exactly it. You're like, whoa, look at all these cool things I can do with the power behind it.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure a lot of it is culture. You know, when you find one and you make it what you want, a lot of it is just to be able to say, I've got an FXR. You know, that is a lot of it. The bike itself is great, but the culture's part of it. But so who cares? You know, that's why people.
A lot of people that ride FXR, like anytime you go anywhere, you see an FXR, it's like an immediate respect.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, you know, because either A, they don't know what it is, so they're asking you what kind of Sportster you're riding, or B, it's somebody that's nerding out and wanting an FXR, but they're stuck in their, 7-year note on their 2014 Fat Bob, you know what I mean?
Yep, or they had one, it's a gray beard that had one, but he can't ride it anymore, so now he has this Tri-Glide or whatever,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely respect, or the sense of community if somebody has one or had one,
Yeah. Well, see, like my buddy Mike, he's always like, he finds good deals, and he tries to share those good deals with other FXR friends that are looking for it, instead of You know, and that when I was talking about people that I really respect, it's guys like him and my other buddy Mark and just all these dudes that are they have personality characteristics that I don't really have that I want to have.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that what I found in the FXR people is that they all have those certain characteristics that I kind of want to have or be around, and I want it to rub off on me, you know?
Yeah.
So it's weird, but it's probably way too deep into like a philosophical shit.
Whatever. I mean, that's part of the deal. Yeah, I mean, I can't go to an FXR show and ask dudes to rub off on me, but but I get what you're saying, man. I feel the same thing. I, for some reason, have a connection to that bike and to the culture around it. And it's nice, you know, like when I see another girl with an FXR, that's like a whole nother fucking level of excitement. Yeah. You know, chicks on FXRs are probably my favorite thing in the world. That's a unicorn. Yeah. Is a girl who owns one. But, no, I agree with you, man. And it's also a community that's very humbling. You know, I've got so much to learn from FXR. Me too, man. Like so much to learn.
I don't know a lot. I just know they fucking rock. So, you know, and I know that I don't necessarily I don't want to not own one.
Right. I'm never getting rid of that thing. Even if she blows up right here in front of your shop, I'm going to trailer her the fuck back to Oklahoma. She's coming home with me. That's my baby.
Yeah, those fucking, I don't know, man. Like, it's a weird deal. But, like, you know, kind of getting back to what I was saying, it's like, you know, once I started traveling myself and you know, it wasn't about like, you know, like you see these baggers that I used to have on the wall here and the things that I used to be into. It was just, it was all like material possession type stuff with those. Yeah. And, you know, that now I'm like getting to a point where it's like, I don't care about how pristine it is or nice. It's like, I just want to ride it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's kind of where it's going for me personally. Just, you know, I have a bad habit of spending too much money on motorcycles as it is. So, you know, we're trying to get there.
Don't we all though? Don't we all?
That's what we love.
But you know what? It's my kid. That thing is my baby, so that's where all my money goes.
So you're not a dog person like that, and you have like an FXR, so you're like an FXR person.
I'm an FXR person, yeah, and that's where all my money and my love goes. But it's okay because she doesn't talk back.
There you go. So what's the? I guess you know we can start heading towards the end of this. So what's the? You know, you're still working on the show for next year. Yeah. We talked at the beginning. Yeah. You'll be in Sturgis.
I'll be in Sturgis. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in the works.
What about some things that you've had on the idea that you might want to pursue at the later this year, as far as like the traveling and maybe relocating, like you're talking about, like.
Yeah, I mean.
Because somebody might be listening, might have an opportunity. You know.
I know, that'd be sick. I mean, I definitely want to keep on like growing motorcycle social media. Because I think that's been probably the most liberating aspect of this is, you know, when a brand asks like, what can I do to grow? Typically I just, for free, I'll be like, here's what I think you could do, you know, especially if I'm friends with somebody who maybe owns a small business and just wants help. So I'm definitely going to focus on that. I might create like a small business out of it and develop clientele so that I have like something to count on as far as money goes, but I'm definitely still going to focus on Southeast FXR Dyna Day because that was, you know, especially hearing you two, every time somebody tells us how much they enjoyed that event and how that made their bike week, you know, it reminds me why it was so important and why we pursued it in the first place. And that's definitely my priority as far as events are concerned. But, you know, I'm very involved in the events for American Flat Track, and they basically want me to reproduce that event for one of their races, mainly their finale race. So you might see an FXR Dyna thing going on at the finale of American Flat Track.
Where's the finale at?
It's in New Jersey, but it's really like New York City, which would be fucking rad.
That'd be cool. I need a reason. I want to go so bad. I just
It'd
don't
be rad,
have.
You know? And so we're talking about doing races, a bike show. It would probably be FXR Dyna because those are my connections. All kinds of shit up there. So that's a possibility. I know I'm going to, you know, I really want to find ways to connect these FXR Dyna events on the East Coast better. So I'd like, you know, Jake and I talk more than we did. I'd like to find ways to kind of take what he does and take what we do and find ways to make them bigger and better and bring some respect to the East Coast because we've got some rad shit going on, but everybody's just so tunnel vision to the West. Yeah. You know, we've got bitchin' stunt riders who ride Dynas and FXRs. We've got the bikes on the East Coast, you know, like you said, Pop's Garage is in Georgia. Yeah. which they just opened a rad shop. I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty crazy.
Amazing. Jordan went to their grand opening. You know, the East Coast is not to be underestimated for sure.
Yeah.
And I really, you know, even if I move to Phoenix, I'm still an East Coast kid. I really want to like grow something out there, grow a scene, and give people reasons to come to Bike Week again, and give people reasons to come to the East Coast for events. So I don't know. Be looking out for definitely our event again in March for Bike Week. But, you know, you might see a couple other things popping up. That AFT finale is in October, so that one's coming up quick. But I think that thing could be huge. We definitely got the resources.
You probably need to get promoting that here pretty quickly, though.
Yeah, no, it'll be soon. But you know what? We have the luxury of having, you know, American Flat Track as a backing. You know, you don't have to do as much like grassroots financial push when you got like
didn't think about that. So
pro racing behind you. You know, but it'd be sick. You know, and I think there's a lot of people in our sector of the community who would really just love to fucking watch some fucking pro flat track. So I think it would be a good like marriage of those
It's good
two.
seeing it grow and get big. You know what I mean? Like it's been kind of grassroots, and now I think it's going more mainstream.
And those boys, because the event I was just at, I hired Grimm Company to do stunts outside the race, and the racers came around the fence and watched. And those boys were like, "What the fuck are these guys doing on these bikes?" Which is funny because that's what the stunt boys say about the racers. Yeah. So it's like just opening their eyes to a whole new section of motorcycling that you would think they would be exposed to, but just haven't.
That's crazy.
And
I would have thought that they'd know.
No, man.
I thought they all were Dyna dudes that just started riding fucking flat track bikes.
No, man. Like they saw like freaking Nick Reynolds do. He does this one-footed, one-handed like wheelie where he's going around a circle because he runs a handbrake. And I literally saw one kid like drop a piece of food out of his mouth. He was like, "The fuck are they doing?" I'm like, "I don't know what stunt guys do. I guess I don't know." So I think there's just so much like room to grow and bring communities together, and that's like what drives me is like bringing people together and bringing this community together. So
yeah, there's a crazy amount of like satisfaction when you like help people like that. You know what I mean? Like you're basically showing them why you like it and bringing everybody together, and then you get it's just a fucking pot of joy, man.
Yeah, it is a pot of joy when you can have an event and like people dig it and they have fun. Yeah. So that's definitely just we're gonna be growing more rad shit.
Well, it's cool that I think that there's a whole untapped market for people like yourself, and it's crazy how like we get on social media now and we have all of a sudden all these tools of being major marketers. I have a friend who we did a podcast with him earlier this year. His name's Adam Gould, and he's actually went to college and has a degree in marketing and all this crazy shit. And it's like, dude, you kids out here on fucking social media have more touch with the marketing audience that you're marketing to than us with all our fucking degrees and shit. You know, and it's
crazy. It's totally flipped marketing on its head.
Yeah. And so like, but I think that like kind of we were talking about earlier, like instead of just being the person that asks for free shit to say, hey, give me an exhaust, I'm gonna fucking ride this bike. It's like eventually there's gonna get to a point where like your 20,000 or your 50 or your 100,000 is worth real money to real companies. And you need to be getting real money from real companies.
I mean, there's people who do. I know some people who get paid just to say that they wear something or post a picture of them wearing something, I think, there is definitely a minimum number, and I'm not even close to that yet, but it's monetized. What we're missing is that the people who can monetize it, they're not on the same playing field. So somebody might be charging $50 a post where someone else might want to charge $200 a post. And then, that devalues the whole industry. So I guess the influencers that, they call themselves, I guess, social media influencers, when they can all get on the same page, almost like unionize in a way, that's when that shit's going to have some real power.
Yeah, I agree. Because, with print kind of falling out, I don't know if you've ever looked into that, but print advertising, that's fucking outrageous prices. If you disperse some of that money for one ad and a few different people that you want to promote their products that have a better grasp of social media than, maybe your older company or whatever, or even if you have a great following and you just want to have a team of people, it feels like that's going to be the way to go. For a lot of bigger companies to help.
It's crazy what kind of platform you. I think I've sold. Just by wearing it in pictures, I've sold 20 of my helmet. Just, what are you wearing? Oh, it's this helmet. Oh, I ordered it. You know, that it's that easy.
Yeah.
You know, and so it incentivizes Bell to give me a free helmet, which they do. You know, they understand that. They're grateful for it. But that's the way things are going. And
yeah, I need to get Simpson to hook a brother up because I've been selling Simpsons left and right to everybody and their fucking mom. So
I'm pretty sure that can be arranged. For real. I mean, but, when I think of Simpson, I think of your shit. So
yeah, I appreciate that. No, but that's a good thing, and it's good that I feel good that I've kind of tried my best to stay on top of my social media to where I've been able to kind of I live off my Instagram, right? So all my work, everything, it comes from Instagram. Like, so I barely push anything on Facebook because of all the political and religious and racial shit that's always on there. So I stick to Instagram where, you know, I sell a visual product, and that's a visual platform. So the this podcasting, and hopefully when we ever get to the point to doing some real videos and stuff, YouTube is another thing that we want to do. Yep. You know, and
that is really where the money is.
Yeah. You can actually monetize that like that.
Yes.
As opposed to like, you know, Instagram, you know, doesn't technically have a monetized you know, platform yet, but it is cool, you know, and you know, like seeing what you guys are doing, and it's kind of a challenge to market. It's fun, like, I wonder if this is gonna work, and then it does. You're like, how can I make that better? And it's like,
and
it becomes its own thing.
It's different because every audience is unique.
It's my turn.
Hey, I don't feel so bad. When like what engages my audience is not what's gonna engage yours or this guy or this guy. You know, everybody's audience is customized. So
yeah, it's like you realize, like when you start posting things, you realize what gets a better reaction or what you get more in interaction with. So, you know, like me personally, you know, like if I on my business page, if I post a picture of me, like people don't give a fuck about me. So
who the fuck's that?
Yeah,
they
get that.
Even know what you look
move
like.
out of the way. I'm trying to see a bike. You know. So you try to like give the people what they're following you for.
Yeah, no, it's same for me.
Yeah.
They want to see me on my. They don't even want to see me. They want to see my motorcycle somewhere else.
Well, I think that they want to see you too. You know, like I said, like if you're talking about riding and doing trips.
Yeah.
I mean, you're inspiring people in one way or another. You know, whether, you know, the humble way, okay, cool. But, you know, dude, when people will even hit me up and be like, man, your podcast inspired me.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's so rad.
But see, I pay it forward. And when I'm inspired by somebody, I tell them that because no matter if they're like some dude with 150 followers, like that, not that matters or anything, but just maybe they're not somebody that's big in the industry that should be inspiring people. Maybe it's just that guy that inspires me by the way he carries himself or that trip he did or like your trips. And so I just tell people like, man, like that shit's rad and you inspired me to do this. And it's kind of like a way of complimenting someone and letting them know that, you know, whatever struggles they're going on in their head, you're letting them know like, hey, you might be dying on the inside, but whatever you're putting out right now is awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a way to find inspiration in one location and to provide it, you know, where you can. And it is a powerful tool. As much as people hate on social media, it's very powerful, especially when it's used for good.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for it, and I think I have a good understanding of it, which is why I'm able to, you know, do work that way.
Yeah.
But it's fun too.
I ain't gonna lie, like I would like the challenge of applying my ideas of marketing to another type of product. Like just seeing but the thing is, like, I don't know if I could do it remotely. I develop photography skills or just my small amount of photography skills to help sell my products too. Right. And the same thing, like we're trying to do videos, so I'm adding those skills to help market those type of products in a different way. But like, you know, if say another motorcycle shop wanted to get out there, I would literally have to go by there like every couple of days and just take pictures.
Well, that's why I live in Oklahoma, man. I have to be with him to market him, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's cool. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the person I'm going to text, hey, so I got this marketing kind of idea. Do you think this will work?
I mean, honestly, yeah. My friends do that all the time. I don't fucking charge for that kind of shit. That's well, see, and here I am going against myself because now I'm undercutting people who do charge for it. But, you know, I think
that anything, like, dude, to me, 100 followers is worth money to me. Yeah. Seriously, if they're real people.
I know. They're not.
I don't want to buy them, but I would like to buy them I would like to buy their attention.
Right.
You know, if they're interested in what I have, I want them to follow it. So if I can find a way to market to them in a way that's not like literally like, hey, dude, here's $1 for following me.
Right.
You know, I don't want that, but I do want people to, you know, if they're interested in what we do, to check it out.
Yeah.
You know, because it works.
There are ways. There are ways. I will help you.
Cool. Well, so what's the your Instagram again is
At girl2, like the number 2 wheels.
And so are you on Facebook or any of that shit, or you just?
I have a personal one, which if people want to friend me, yeah, sure. But there is a business Facebook that exists because you have to have one to run a business Instagram. But man, Facebook is just stupid, complicated.
I hate it. I don't like it.
So no, I don't use it, and I'm sorry if people listening are Facebook devoted. You can find my personal one, I guess, but I really don't use it. I think Instagram is just more. I just like the visual aspect of it. I don't like typing what I had for breakfast or like what the fuck I'm watching on TV.
Yeah, like
that's what Instagram stories are for. You can see what I had for breakfast.
Yeah. Or what came out.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I don't
know if you have friends like that, but I do.
That freaking story of their poop.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Well,
or you get a text message from them like, hey, look what I ate. Like,
yeah, no, I've gotten that before. I'm like, but then you know what? I say ew, but really I'm zooming in. I'm like, what is that?
Like that came out of you.
Did you have corn?
Cool. So they'll see you at Sturgis. What's the campground name up in Oklahoma?
Well, it's going under rebrand. If you're trying to find it now, it's under K River Campground for Kaimichi, K River. But he's rebranding it to Scootin' America River Resort.
Nice.
Because Scootin' America is River Resort. I mean, it really is. If you come prepared to like play, it's a fucking resort. I mean, you can float in the river and fucking ride side by sides and kayak and canoe and just have a good time. We got a fucking big ass smoker making
I need
brisket.
a petting zoo.
We got chickens and ducks running around. If you can catch them, you can pet them all you want. Yeah.
Cool. So they'll see you in Sturgis.
Yep.
FXR Dyna Day.
Yep. And on the road, man. If you follow me on Instagram and you see I'm rolling through your area, let me know.
Reach out. Yeah.
Share miles, share a meal, whatever.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping through.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right. See you later. Bam. Hope you guys like that. I had a great time talking to her. She's pretty inspiring. You know what I mean? Like I said, leaving her job, living on the road, just, man, like that. I want to do it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I can't. But follow her, man. Check her out. Like she said, girlon2wheels on Instagram. And, maybe you can't do it yourself, but maybe you can live vicariously through her Instagram. So check her out. Support what she's doing because she's doing rad shit. Also, don't forget to check out all our sponsors, the people and our Patreon supporters that are making all this stuff happen for us, or making it possible for us to do these podcasts, rather. TexasPerformanceMC.com, Texas Performance MC on Instagram. Check out Mark and all the great shit that he's doing on motors and building bikes and doing rad motorcycle shit. Paint Huffer Metal Flake, my dudes over there keeping us flaked out over here. PaintHuffer.com, Paint Huffer Metal Flake on IG. Also, the dudes up in Indy making big power with these motors, Horsepower Inc. Check them out on the website, horsepowerinc.net, Horsepower Inc. on Instagram, and Horsepower Inc. in Indy. Sorry, had a brain fart. On Facebook. Also, don't forget about Hard Drive, American V-Twin products. Check them out on hdtwin.com and Hard Drive Parts on IG. Appreciate you guys checking us out again. Don't forget to check out our Patreon where, we appreciate the support that you do, whether it's $1, whether it's $6.66 and $7.77 and you $10 dudes. I wish I could, do more for you guys, but that is really helping us get things. It's paying for the podcast now, which is awesome. So, and I'm going to keep bringing more content. Like I said, we had a lot of people that really enjoyed the road tripping episode, and we're going to bring some more of those. And that's going to become, as they become available, that's going to be something to look forward to. We're huge enthusiasts for motorcycle riding and traveling, so we want to hear everybody's story from doing that. So we're going to try to bring more of those. Man, like, dude, we've been doing this thing since January, man. We're on month 7. It's fucking awesome. It's really fun, and I hope that you guys are still enjoying this as much as I am enjoying doing it. So, if you can, man, go to Patreon. You can get a link on our website, fastlifegarage.com. It's on the front page. You can go on donate $1, 10, $5, whatever you got, whatever you care to do. Like I said, it really helps us out, and it's gonna keep growing, hopefully. And maybe this podcast can become more than just in our free time. So we appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good week. Don't forget, if you're hearing this on Tuesday, come to the bike night tonight. Anvil Pub, 8 o'clock. Come fuck with us. Peace.